This is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. And yesterday I did a video, Church of Spirituality, from this very spot. I'm in McMinnville, Tennessee. It's about an hour and change from Nashville. And several of you know that I am here at the Isha Foundation. I'm on the grounds of the ashram, and I had mentioned that I would be here and I would pop up with a vid. So there's absolutely nobody here, I mean in the chat at the present time, but I'm just gonna wait a little while, and I guess I'll just pontificate while I'm here until, you know, people get the notification that this is indeed a pop-up video. And there was no forewarning that I would be here. So, but I did tell you I'd be coming in from Isha. So I found a little window of time. My friend went off to rehearse for a darshan tonight, which is, it's happening at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm on Central Time. Yay, you're here. Tell your friends, maybe tell your friends to tune in. It's just about, it's heading to noontime right now. You're here too. Oh, good, good, good. It's Monday. The darshan today is to celebrate Sadguru's Day of Enlightenment, when he went into meditation in a spot in India. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And what happened was Sadguru went into meditation. I think he was only like 20, 25 years old at the time. And what happened was, when he came out of his meditation, I think it was Chamandi Hill, despite him thinking that he had been meditating for a couple of hours, as it turned out he had been meditating for 13 days. And when he opened his eyes, he was surrounded by Indians that were aware of like the great kind of magnanimity of this, you know, just like it was a sign that something really intensely spiritual was going on. And from there, he just continued on this path of being a leader and a teacher and a guru. And he started to teach yoga to people, friends, and, you know, other connections. This is probably in the 1970s, right around that time. So he started to travel around and teach yoga to people. So he started, you know, just very small groups. Because he was meditating for 13 days, he devised this 13-day program. So I'm just giving you a little bit of background. We're going to get into PNN in just a minute. And so today is to celebrate that day that he had attained enlightenment. So it's a very potent day. It's a very powerful day. If you get an opportunity, please go to Church of Spirituality here on YouTube, at Church of Spirituality in the search bar. Because I did a service yesterday, as I do every single Sunday, but right from this spot. I'm at my friend's apartment. Their apartments, it's kind of like a campus, you know. So she bought an apartment here. And there was some real mystical things going on in that Church of Spirituality service from yesterday. So make sure you check that out. His presence is very strong here. He is on site, getting ready for the darshan. He'll be speaking to us tonight about whatever's going on. So yeah, it was an open air service yesterday, exactly. I don't know if it's okay for me to be doing like psychic readings here, but I feel like it's fine. Funny story, when I met Sadguru in 1998, and he knew I did readings. I was doing readings back then. And he said, don't do readings, don't predict the future. And I said, well, I don't really predict the future as much as I kind of counsel people and help them. And he said, that's okay. Counseling's okay. Don't predict the future. So I took it with a grain of salt. That's what Jesus did. He preached outside. That's right. There are a lot of parallels. I'll just say that there are a lot of parallels between the life of Jesus and the life of Sadguru. A lot of similarities. So the funny thing was, back then in 1998, when he said, "Don't predict the future," I think he was just referring to the traditional psychics that scam, that they're not really psychics. That's what I think. And then he jokingly said, "Predict my future," and I said, "You are going to be very, very, very famous." Sure enough, yeah, pretty famous. I'm going to take a look at some cards. I want you to know that things are improving. Excuse the noise in the background. Since this is a spontaneous video, there's no telling what's going to happen. It's needed to give good advice, yeah, and he was all for that. And I make a huge effort in my work, in my readings with people, to just let everyone know when they get a reading from me, it's you and your free will that determine the outcome. I can help you work through challenges, but it's you that determine the outcome. Okay, so true to form, my cards are acting really crazy right off the bat. I'm trying to straighten them. They remain all disheveled. What's happening in America right now is it's pivotal. What's happening in America right now is the wave is cresting. The wave is cresting. We're coming into a time where people are waking up. People are waking up to the need for us to be humanitarians. I got an email today, a newsletter. I might go into the other room in a moment and grab that so I can refer you to it. About that very topic. This is not about politics. It's not about red or blue. It's not about anything to do with our political leanings. And Rose is mentioning the Mark Robinson campaign staff quit yesterday, sick of his vile comments. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So there was a really great Substack today. It might be John Pat. His last name starts with a P. And I'll grab it before we go today. Please tell your friends that I'm on. The humanitarian need for us to take care of one another, for us to understand that we are all united. There is not one of us that's not connected to the other because we're all energetically connected. I feel that very, very strongly here at Isha. And what we do does affect the whole. And how we hold our consciousness affects the whole. So what's happening in America right now is more and more people, like, what's the word? When all of a sudden it hits a tipping point, it's just the momentum is building. And we are on our way to saving our democracy. So I'm here to tell you, we are not failing this fight. We are on our way to strengthening our democracy, to strengthening our humanitarianism, and to making the case that we are not going back, for one, and that we choose, at the risk of sounding trite, we choose love. We choose to do the best that we can, to be the best that we can. Send Von Blue a little healing energy. Oh, I'm glad I came on, give you something to do while you're healing. Okay. We're there. It doesn't mean we don't have a lot of work to do in this last month before the election, but we have arrived. Yes, thank you. Dale Johnson has it, The 100th Monkey. That was a book by the author Ken Keyes back in the 70s. the 100th monkey, when we get to a point where the whole thing, just the wave crests and psh, we are there. Thank you, Darren. I'm glad I came too. I was kind of directed to definitely come to Darshan in Tennessee. I mentioned this at Church of Spirituality. I'm in McMinnville, Tennessee, at the Isha Foundation Center. I mentioned yesterday that I was on the fence. I wasn't going to come. My friend Austin was telling me I needed to be here for Darshan. So on a whim, I looked up flights, and I found a flight for $98 round trip. And I talked about it yesterday at Church of Spirituality because that's grace. That's what grace. A wind just came in as I said grace. I'm not alone. None of us are alone. Remember that. You're never alone. Spirit Airline. So anyway, of course it was Spirit Airline. I won't get into my critique of Spirit Airline, but I did find that very ridiculously cheap flight. Let's pull a few cards about where we are with our democracy. Please hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please also know that this video right now is in lieu of my 7 p.m. Eastern Time PNN. And I wanted to come on live even though I didn't know what time it would happen. That's why I didn't announce it ahead of time. Okay, so I'm pulling 3 cards. Hey, Bond Blue, if you need a reading, you know how to reach me. I'm just saying. If you feel so inclined. Okay. It's very warm here in Tennessee. I got the word at the ashram. They want us to keep our shoulders covered. I don't know, it's just kind of protocol. Where we are with them in America right now. Okay, so I'm using these cards that I don't usually use. They're not mine. Where we are in America right now. We're choosing love. We're choosing love. We're choosing harmony. Look at the blue wave. How often recently, I just want to point out, the last PNN, as I was talking about where we are with our democracy, there was a card, not from this deck, from, I'm trying to remember which deck I was using. There was a wave. There was a blue wave. Where we are in America right now, we are connecting in love with one another. And there's a giant blue wave. And we're going with that flow of the giant blue wave. Pass it on. We have arrived. We have arrived. Blonde Blue, make sure you drink some water. Okay? Just to emphasize my point. We're usually dehydrated. Yep, you remember the blue wave, right? It was the Ace of Cups. I'm just trying to remember which deck I was using. And it's been showing up in our readings. Okay, so join us at Grassroots of Democracy. Hang on, I dropped a card. Because we're continuing to work on bringing the blue wave to a cresting point. Okay? Rose Blue is saying there's 500,000 Haitians in Florida. Yeah, that makes sense. And they're mad as hell and they're not going to take it anymore. Yeah. We're seeing lots of groups rising up. I just listened to a Mark Elias video, and he was talking about Governor Sununu in New Hampshire. I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm going to try to keep it in the high vibe. Governor Sununu used to be reasonable, and what they're trying to do is make it nearly impossible for college students to vote. To which I say, how dare they? How dare they inflict their will upon future generations? You know what I'm saying? How dare they? Okay, so as I said before People were asking me if we were going to have a government shutdown. I got absolutely not. We're not having a government shutdown. I don't know if it took a psychic to figure that out, but it would have meant the end of all the Magas that are in Congress. It would have meant people would rise up and reject them wholeheartedly. And they couldn't risk that. So now we're starting to see that the Donald is losing influence, is losing power. Oh, good, Doug. I'm glad you're here. Doug's surgery went great. Send Doug some healing energy too. Yay. Hang with us. Absorb the energy here at Isha while you're here. Tap in. It's like, I was telling my friend, I said, it feels like I'm a cell phone and I came here to plug back in. So, because we're not separate, you know, you virtually can get the energy from here too. So just soak it in. And the funny thing for me is, you know how noisy my apartment is back in Massachusetts? It's been quite an adjustment to adjust to the peace. Group hug for healing before we end. Yes, we can do that. So just know that PNN is not happening at 7 Eastern time tonight. It's happening right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, I don't have my nefarious cards. Couldn't pack everything. But I'm going to look at how influential the Donald is at the present time. Where I'm going to pull cards about how strong his influence is at the current time. Remember, we have to still keep working. I will be back for our tomorrow evening Grassroots of Democracy guided meditation for a Healed America, 20 on Tuesday. So make sure you signed up at grassrootsofdemocracy.com. Even if you can't make the meeting, you will receive the recording if you're on the list. Okay. Let's take a look at where he is right now. So what I'm looking at is where the Donald is in terms of his influence. And I have 3 cards that are very telling. By the way, I'm reading the Zen, the Osho Zen Tarot. I do own this deck. I don't know why I don't use it. This is my friend's, but where he is in terms of his influence right now. Sorrow. Donald is very depressed. He's extremely depressed. He's looking like the fool. He's definitely suffering from dementia. The guides are telling me it's in its further along stages than people are talking about. So it's interesting because we feel like we're seeing the signs of early onset of dementia, but what I'm picking up is it's in its more advanced stages. And I'm also picking up that there's going to be an escalation of the decline. So where Donald is right now is he's burdened with sorrow and he's losing his mind. He's being perceived as a fool. He basically just keeps getting out there and gaffing. Like his whole rally speech is a perpetual gaffe and a perpetual stream of lies. So if you want to know how he's doing and how his campaign is doing, that's pretty telling. I would not even have to say a word for you to see what's going on there, right? The whimsy lady said that Trump is done and already planning his exit to the east, Dubai. I never have, well, he might be planning his exit to the east, but I never, in terms of like fleeing the country, Donald, I've never gotten that as being a viable option for him. Hey, Kathy. If you're just joining us, I'm just doing a pop-up. I had no idea what time it would be. I found a little window where I wouldn't be interrupted. My friend's off rehearsing for Darshan tonight. And so I had a little window. Okay. And speaking of, hi, Kathy Beal. Our last show on last Tuesday on the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, there's a lot of great information I'm in Tennessee. Yep. There's a lot of great information and during that Spirit Talk podcast, so check it out. Was that September 10th? Yeah. And it's all points to a Harris-Walz win. All of it. So let's take a look right now at that. The Harris-Walz Campaign. Also, the After Oprah event effect has been huge. I just heard that from that event alone, they actually attracted $100 million in donations. $100 million. I thought I heard it wrong. Okay, so we're going to look at the Harris-Walz campaign. What's the energy? What's going on there right now? It's so quiet here. People are probably overhearing the reading. Thunderbolt, celebration, maturity. This is the party of maturity. Oh yeah, there is a new Psychics for Democracy event coming up. I'm not going to be doing readings at that event, but there will be a video. I'll have my input there. I'll have a presence at that event. This is the Harris-Walz campaign. Thunderbolt. Big, big, big energy. My other song? Yeah, well, my songs will be there at the Psychics for Democracy event. I think they call it a psychic-a-thon, something like that, which is a great event. They're raising some good money. Thunderbolt. There's no stopping the Harris-Walz campaign. It's an idea whose time has come. Maturity. This is the grown-ups. This is the party of the wounded child energy, completely healed and grown up. And celebration. They know that they're unstoppable in terms of being the really ultimate winners in this election cycle. So what we're going to do... All right, somebody's saying you came on late. No worries. Nobody knew I was coming on, not even me. A window just opened up. If you're just joining us, I'm at Isha Institute in McMinnville, Tennessee, and I'm at an event that's happening tonight. And please go to Isha on YouTube, and you'll be able to be part of the live stream. There's no PNN tonight, Electrostorm. I did say I'd pop in when I could. This is when I could. So, let's see what we want to ask now. So what we're going to look at right now is what's going to happen to Magas in Congress. They're flipping out. They don't know what to think. They don't know what to do. Hey, Michelle. They don't have a playbook for what's going on right now. Maga Mike, as I said, as I had predicted, I alluded to this earlier, but I didn't elaborate. Maga Mike, I had told you that they would not let the government shut down because they would all lose in their next elections. So the government is not going to be shut down. We heard that over the weekend. Trump's numbers are declining rapidly. And I'm going to look at the MAGA party. They're in total confusion. And just going back to that Oprah event really moved the needle. So between the DNC, which was unlike any DNC we'd ever seen in terms of how popular the candidate is. Between that, the debate, the resulting Taylor Swift endorsement, and then the Oprah event, and Harris-Walz, just gangbusters all around the country. There's a huge energy shift happening. So I'm pulling 3 cards about MAGA. What's going to happen to MAGA? I'm getting the incredibly shrinking MAGA. That's the phrase that's coming to my mind. Stress. They're trying to rebel. They're conditioned. They're conditioned. This is about the cult mind. They're conditioned to keep following along with their rebelliousness, but they're under incredible duress and stress. Incredible duress and stress. Let's pick 3 cards about what that's going to lead to, this incredible stress and duress for them. And please hit the thumbs up while you're here. Donations graciously appreciated. When you become a member, you receive an affirmation in your inbox every day. Just thought I'd mention it. Okay. Yogi Bear is saying, most of the 150 who went against Biden are seeking lawyers. Yeah. 3 more cards about where Maga goes from here. They're under incredible duress. This is an incredible burden for them. You can probably hear them rehearsing in the background. Sound travels. What happens to Maga from here? Well, believe it or not, we're all born with a conscience. And I'm not saying they're all going to have a come to Jesus moment, but we're going to see that they kind of fade into the background like a dream, like a bad dream. Does anyone know what happened at the Oprah event? Well, I know what happened was they raised $100 million more. The Harris-Walz Campaign is up to past $1 billion raised. Money talks, right? So I don't know if you were asking specifically, Bond Blue, what happened at the Oprah event. A lot happened at the Oprah event. You can find it online if you just type in Oprah on your search bar on YouTube. So what's happening to Maga from here? Some of them are actually aware that their games aren't working anymore. It's just glaringly obvious. Notice these cards, all 3 have a blue tint. That's significant. These cards, all 3 have a blue tint. This is what happens to Maga moving forward. They fade away like a dream. We've all listened to our inner voice, and the awareness card indicates that the American people coming to an awakening and an awareness makes them fade away, makes Maga fade away. Yes, crazy, isn't it? It's starting to sweat. It's really hot in Tennessee. I think it's going to be in the 90s today. Okay. We are going to do a group hug. So stay here. Yeah, like a bad dream, right, Kathy? Absolutely. Okay. Let's grab the pendulum for a second. Oh, my pendulum got stuck. Maybe we won't grab the pendulum. It kind of got stuck on this little table. We'll just keep going with the cards. Got jammed in there. Poor pendulum. People are starting to reject 45's bad behavior. Absolutely true. Yeah. Okay. So, I think, what we just read about the Magas in Congress kind of sums up all their antics, too. They're all going to fade away into the distance. Okay? Yogi Bear is saying, you remember Maga stands for for morons getting attorneys again. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. There's a hornet. I'm going to swish it away with my scarf. Be ready for a lot of Magas in Congress doing a lot of blah, 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 blah. Like dull noise in the background that's just kind of a drone that doesn't have any energy or influence attached. It's very not potent. Be ready for that. I'm thinking Marjorie Trader Green. Let's read on the most nefarious people in terms of what's going to happen to them. I'm going to start with Stephen Miller. I know. I'm at Isha, so the positivity is going to protect me. What's going to happen to Stephen Miller? Well, there's a nice breeze. Letting go. There'll be a letting go of his intensity. Stephen Miller is gonna experience a letting go of his intensity. We're not buying it. I wrote a Substack last week. And the first line of it, please go to Grassroots of Democracy group on Substack and please subscribe. It helps me a lot. It's the same content as the newsletter that I send out for Grassroots of Democracy 3 times a week. But the first line was, it's not going to work this time. Just talking about all the, the genocide and the racism and the horrible, horrible things that humans have done to one another, especially in this country. It's not going to work this time. And that's what I get with that Stephen Miller card right there. So continue to focus on the positivity, okay? Continue to just be full on visualizing what it is that you want. If you watch Church of Spirituality from yesterday, you'll get a lot of tips on how to do that. Not just for ourselves, but for the collective. Okay, Marjorie Trader Green. From my lips to God's ears. Marjorie Trader Green. Thank you for the donation, Pamela. Much appreciate. I didn't bring my bells. I'd ring the bell for you. Okay. Marjorie Trader Green is going to feel isolation. She's already feeling isolation from Maga. Just going back to Stephen Miller, I think he will be indicted. I do get that. His potency is definitely lessening. Marjorie Trader Green is feeling isolated. Even the Maga people in Congress are, the other ones are kind of moving away from her. And I saw this months ago. I mentioned that I'd seen a vision of Marjorie Trader Green just like the girl that got kicked out of the clique, where nobody wanted anything to do with her. That was kind of the feeling of it. And I see isolation, transformation, things are going to change for her. Transformation and her existence in the sense of her visibility. We're going to, in a couple of years, you know how quickly we forget things. In a couple of years, we're going to be saying, like, remember that Marjorie person? We really are. I know it's hard to believe right now, but it's true. You saw Yogi Bear, I see a lot of these misguided sheep behind bars. Yes. Isolation. Let's take a look at Joe Biden and what he's up to, what he's doing, what the energy is around what he's doing. I feel a lot of strength there. I feel a lot of strength. Sharon's wishing you all a happy birthday, everyone who has a birthday this month. Nice breeze as I talk about Joe Biden having a lot of strength. That breeze and this heat feels like relief. He's relieved. Things are moving forward. People are on board with saving democracy. It's really good. Anyone who's feeling down in the dumps today, I hope that you're getting the positivity from this video. Because things are on the up and up in ways that were so hard for us to imagine. Until, Biden is making things happen. Absolutely, Kathy. In ways that were hard for us to imagine, especially after the insurrection and all that. Things are really shifting for the good. So let's really revel in that. It's okay to celebrate it. 3 cards about Biden. I know he's working very hard at reforming the court. We'll take a look at reforming the court too. I don't know how long I'll be here today, but we've got a lot to look at. A lot of the people that Biden he's very, in a very methodical way, step by step, getting to a place where they can be held accountable. Now, where I'm talking about reforming the court, I really do feel strongly the number 1 item on his list for America is to reform the court. And the Clarence Thomases and the Sam Alitos and Roberts and Gorsuch, they're guilty. And what we're going to see more and more is a lot of news about how guilty they are. We think, you know, it's like kind of you ain't seen nothing yet, because there's more and more and more when it comes to the Supreme Court. More and more and more crimes. So he's bringing up their guilt. It's a methodical process, moment to moment. It's a slow slog to reform the court, but I'm feeling that Biden is working with a team with a single-minded objective to get the court to be held accountable for them turning this country into a potential dictatorship. Oh, these cards are the Osho Zen Tarot. They're my friends who I'm staying with here at Isha. But I have this deck too. I'll use it sometime. I have several decks that I've used a lot, and then I kind of put them aside. I had a lot of tarot decks. Tools of the trade. Thank you, Sharon, for putting up my information. If you can, put up the information about... Is that what you're doing? It's hard for me to see. Let me put my glasses on for a sec. If somebody can, if it hasn't been done already. Okay. Can you put up the Isha, the link for Isha? So you can tune into the Darshan. Thank you, Sharon. You're so wonderful. I still owe you a tea leaf reading. Oh, and by the way, speaking of that, just changing topics. I owe one more person a tarot reading that was donated by our anonymous generous donor. So when I get back on Wednesday, a Wednesday PNN at the usual time, 7 Eastern time, PM. You all know that. I'll do a little raffle. So make sure you come on Wednesday. Tell your friends. 3 cards. Thank you, Darren. 3 cards about... Let's do this. About the Supreme Court. What kind of movement can we expect on the Supreme Court between now and the end of the year? I want you all to stop worrying your little heads about Trump. It's going to become glaringly obvious. Hey, Rose, no worries. This is a pop-up show. I did not announce it. I know you would have been here if you had known, but I didn't even know. The Supreme Court. Their morality, or lack thereof, this is about the Supreme Court. Their morality or lack thereof, their illusion has been busted. Their illusion that they're working for America has been busted. This is about the Supreme Court. They have been fooling us, you know, up until fairly recent years. They have been fooling us into believing, because they have that big building and they're supposed to be the Supreme Court. They're supposed to protect our Constitution and enforce our Constitution. That illusion is gone. Morality has the awareness of the need for morality has become manifest in a huge way. And the maturity, we're growing up this country. We are growing up this country. And the maturity also points to I think Joe Biden is working really hard on this, throwing out the window this idea that they have life appointments. Whoever heard of that? Whoever heard of that? That's insane. Excuse me for a sec. I'm doing a PNN. Did you have fun? So much fun. Awesome. I don't know how long it will go. Maybe 20 more minutes. Yeah, eventually. I'm borrowing your scarf. I needed to have some color. Okay, so that's the Supreme Court. Yeah, so it's not going to be lifelong appointments anymore. Excuse me, there's a van coming through the gravel here. The motorcycle sounds have been replaced by sounds of wheels on gravel. That's the name of the song. Who wrote Car Wheels on a Gravel Road? It's escaping me at the moment. Okay. Yes, people on the site are here for me and the Positive Democratic Campaign. We're here for all of us. Oh, thank you to the wrenches, by the way. Car Wheels on a Gravel Road. It's on the tip of my tongue. Okay. 3 cards about Maga Mike, which I kind of did already because I read on Maga. Oh yeah, he's Maga Mike Johnson is done. He's finito. He's finished. There's a big change coming for him because he cannot fight back on the universal law and the universal will that he stop with the damage and destruction. He's finished. I think with this approving the budget, passing the budget, they're in complete disarray. They're in complete and utter disarray. They really just don't even know which way is up. More ways than one, right? They don't even know which way is up. Let's just do kind of a broad reading. He may be connected to Diddy. Mike Johnson? Let's just do kind of a very broad look at the entirety of the MAGA movement's direction from this point forward. Okay? The entirety. Let's look at it this way. Of all the people, all the insurrectionists in our Congress. Let's pull 3 cards about that. Which includes MAGA Mike. I'm thinking subpoenas, indictments, being held accountable. We have a big, I'm looking at like the start of the year next year, we have a big influx of subpoenas and indictments. So that points to a Harris win. All the insurrectionists in our Congress. They're going, yeah. Okay, all the insurrectionists in our Congress. Rose Blue is saying, yes, may they get the justice they deserve. The outsiders, they will be cast out in no uncertain terms by the American people. Going back to their ordinariness. You can read Yogi Bear's post. And the burden of being held accountable for their criminality. This is MAGA insurrectionists in our Congress. They're going back to their ordinariness. They're not going to be on their pedestals anymore. They're not going to be in positions of leadership anymore. They are burdened with their crimes and they have been cast out. Nice cool breeze on that one. What did Kathy say? Let me see. Trump is hinting today that Mike has sexual skeletons. Well, we knew that all along. Yeah, so so the Donald is very, very angry that it didn't work this time. Remember what I said earlier? It's not going to work this time. So this is what I see. I see Donald being so angry that he literally, and I mean literally in words, he outs the MAGAs in Congress. Because he's so off the rails. Donald is so off the rails and so angry that he just doesn't know where to sling the you-know-what next. Carrie saying, haven't been on X today, can only tolerate them for 10 minutes at a time. I will not go on X. I have people that are working with me on social media, and they say, go on Twitter. And I'm just like, I'm going to have to just set him straight. Not doing it. So let's read on that since that just popped up, because as I said earlier, I'm picking up on really an acceleration of the decline of his mental capacity, a rapid deceleration of his mental capacity. And now he's going to start lashing out and outing Maga in Congress for their various crimes, because he doesn't know what else to do with his anger. So how's that going to go? Can the Donald get on our train and go off the rails? In a way, he kind of is. Metaphorically speaking. Because he needs control. So Donald feels like he's losing control. So the way for him, he's going to retaliate against the MAGAs in Congress that went ahead and said, we're not going to close down the government. And he's going to create chaos. Because that's what he's going to do. That's why you mentioned Trump and Mike. Yeah, it's going to just kind of explode. Metaphorically speaking. And things will transform because the Donald himself will start outing the members of Congress that did not shut down the government. It's already been done. They said they're not going to shut down the government. It's too risky for them. I go down, you go down anger. Exactly. Yeah, in a nutshell, that's putting it succinctly. He wants to create the illusion that he's still in control, so he's going to cause all the MAGAs to be exposed. Get ready for some fireworks, people. So I think it's getting time to wind down. I'm so grateful that I was able to squeeze this in, because I would have felt like something was missing today if I didn't get in a PNN. Kind of conditioned. And Wednesday night we'll get into more, but let's do 3 community cards. Once again, make sure you tune in tonight. You might even see me at the Darshan. It's going to be outdoors. It's been a very energetic year indeed. Yes, that's for sure. Rose is saying. Okay, so before we pull the 3 community cards, to just kind of conclude for the time being, before we pull those 3 cards, obviously I don't have my tea leaves, my teacup. We're going to do a group hug healing, and this is going to be a little longer than it usually is, so you can really soak in the energy here, okay, the healing energy here. So anybody who's feeling down in the dumps, anyone who's feeling physically just tired, exhausted, not well, really focus on the healing of all of us, okay? And all of us in America, healing all the grief and the despair, okay? And bringing it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Deep breath. Deep breath and coming back. We're holding each other in a healing space. Hugs and healing light. That was beautiful. Another nice, beautiful, cool breeze. Yes, thank you. Okay, 3 cards to conclude today. Look up Isha on YouTube in the search bar for this evening's live stream event. Can't wait to hear what Sadguru has to tell us all. I'm sure there's a strong message. I'm feeling it. And 3 cards for us, for this community, for America. Hi. Yes, the guides are confirming with the breezes. We conjured up the wind yesterday at the Church of Spirituality. Please, once again, go to Church of Spirituality and hit the thumbs up and subscribe and watch the whole thing. You'll see the magic. Well, this is a message about what's coming. We're going to see Maga paying for their laziness. I mean, let's face it. They talk about the do nothing, you know. Trump was always saying the do nothing Democrats. They've done nothing. We're going to see how their laziness and their lack of maturity and deliberate stupidity is going to cause them to be isolated. And we are taking back control. We're more in control than we ever have been. Energetically, we really are. And we will start to see it on the physical very, very soon. On that note, thank you for tuning in. We got a pretty good group for a spontaneous PNN. Make sure you come back on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you join us then, because I'm going to do a raffle for a free reading that somebody donated who wishes to remain anonymous. And also, tomorrow night, Grassroots of Democracy. Make sure you're on our email list so you receive all our information. 20 on Tuesdays, guided meditation for healed America. People, it is working. All our energetic work is working. I'm so grateful. All right, we'll see you soon. Namaste. Hopefully you'll be present tonight at Isha at their website for the live stream on YouTube. Namaste. Bye.